Now, let's look at this map a little closer. We're going to start down here.
So
the far left-hand corner.
Over 400 pages of documentation on this map. 400 pages, dude. And they were fucking around with a fantasy map, right?
Not one,
yeah,
not
right.
two, but 3 measurement graduations.
Oh, really?
This is very important, as why would someone include 3 measurements on a map that was supposedly mythological?
Exactly. Inner Earth, motherfucker.
Nowhere on the map is indicated as fantasy. It is, however, spoken of as utopia. The land area to the top is all happiness, virtue, heavenly, spiritual. And as we come down, the map gets more satirical, and bad, evil becomes prevalent. And then we have a lot of sadness, and we have grief, and we have terror, horror, and evil towards the bottom.
What the fuck are you talking about? Sorry, man, you lost me there. Unless you're like some kind of map fucking goddamn tarot reader, that didn't make any sense. There you go, this cube shit again. Fucking
the cities, the countries, the names of the provinces, all indicate this. But could that have been because of an imposition of language difference?
Interesting.
Could the names come from a phonetic sound-alike rather than a true meaning?
Interesting. I'm gonna fucking fast forward this to some meat and potatoes here, because that's what I want. He's gonna get to the, oh yeah. Here we go.
None of the books indicate what the legend here says. Down in the far right-hand corner.
See that? The rivers flow into it from the bottom.
We're going to read this. We're going to look at it and see what it says there.
Let me translate to you what the script in this box says.
Utopia.
Right here.
What? It's paradise.
A utopian map of the newly discovered Schlaraffenland. This land was often spoken of, but never actually located. Also makes a comment that this ridiculous fantasy land supposedly is composed of many kingdoms which have all the different vices of life within them. And that this map was delivered by anonymous authors. The Schlaraffenland, often spoken of, but never located. Nobody knows where it is.
Go inside the fucking Middle Earth, brother.
If you look at this
flat
map
plain
here,
on the opposite side where the grass is greener than the division symbol.
This so-called fantasy map. Could this map here give a clue of how to get to the Schlaraffenland? I believe it does. Let us take a look at this. As you notice, this looks like a very high mountain.
Yeah.
And notice the rivers flowing right into the mountain.
That is correct.
On here.
This is the fantasy island. But this,
another one there,
in plain sight, shows you where boats travel into it. Son of a bitch, man.
Flowing right into the mountain.
Yeah.
Now, from what we have shown you previously, does this not remind you of what is on the map of Gerard Mercator?
Yes,
quarters?
Let's get to some real shit.
This might be a clue of how to get to the Schlaraffenland, and that this is a map of a portion of the inner world.
It's beautiful. Come on, give me some. Oh, there it is.
So where does
right
all
there.
of the solid core theory come
go.
from? Perhaps if we look around, we can get to the core of the core.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'll just be patient.
Let's look at... Right now we're going to show you another map from the 1600s, 1665. This is a Kircher map. System of underground water. Pretty much is what it says here.
Everlasting waters, buddy.
And let's back up
Menstrual
and we can see
waters
this
of the
guy.
earth. Look at this,
Very beautiful,
buddy.
black and white print.
Look at this shit,
This is the
son.
original.
That's the original? Are you fucking kidding me?
Athanasius
No
Kircher.
way. Can't be the original.
And this was sanctioned by the Catholic Church.
Wow.
Kircher was a Jesuit scholar.
So is that the root
And
system?
Basically what we
Fuck.
have is down here a description of the subterranean water system.
Wow.
The chain of events happens like this. The ocean drains into the center of the earth, and then there's an immense heat source here. Water heats up, pushes to the outside, to the tops of these mountains,
Whoa.
where the water then cools and then flows back down through the valleys as rivers and streams, back into the ocean, and then the cycle continues.
Oh my God.
This was a dogma presented and sanctioned by the Catholic Church. We also want to point out at this time that the year after this map was printed, in 1666, Kircher was presented with the Voynich manuscript from the University of Prague. They gave it to him in hopes that he could break the code. But he was unable to translate the manuscript, so he sent it on to the Jesuit college. And remember Dr. John Dee, the 16th century occultist? He also had the Voynich manuscripts. He couldn't decipher them either.
No, you know he
later
could.
became Queen Elizabeth I's secret agent.
Oh, really?
Pri-
Okay, so he couldn't figure it out, but suddenly he gets put on the Queen's pedestal as like a... Wait a minute. Let's go back again. You knew he figured it out.
We also want to point out at this time that the year after this map was printed, in 1666, Kircher was presented with the Voynich manuscript from the University of Prague.
Wow.
They gave it to him in hopes that he could break the code. But he was unable to translate the manuscript, so he sent it on to the Jesuit college.
Wow.
And remember Dr. John Dee, the 16th century occultist?
Yes.
He also had the Voynich manuscripts.
And he figured it out.
He couldn't decipher them either.
You're lying.
And he later became Queen Elizabeth I's secret agent,
That's because
her private attaché.
he figured it
liaison.
out. That's right.
And when he sent her private letters, he
Okay.
always signed them 007.
How
Let's look at
interesting.
another Kircher map.
But still, it means that you knew.
Now we have
fucking
the
knew.
sister map to the one we just showed you. This basically says what lies beneath the mountains and volcanoes, or the system that lies beneath the mountains and volcanoes.
Mountains and volcanoes. Huh?
Very beautiful. This is the original. And you'll see there's a lot of Latin script here. And basically, in short,
is some old
what
baller
it suggests is the following.
This isn't the inside of the fucking
Yeah.
shit.
The central core here
Okay.
is an immense heat source. And there are subcores, or subordinate cores, that heat up the gases, build up pressure, and push them out the volcanoes.
Okay. Now let me tell you why this is
Now
bullshit.
you may ask,
This has got to be bullshit because you can't have an inside Earth with volcanic goddamn lava inside of it and you're inside of it burning up with it. It's impossible. This here, I am debunking right now because this is impossible. If the Earth was that hot, you wouldn't even be able to stand on that motherfucker. This shit right here, being that hot, maybe even 15 miles beneath. They've already drilled 15 miles and they stopped 15 miles. This is all fucking bullshit.
how could the Catholic Church have so much say-so over the political dogmas and how they affect what people think? But
This is
Copernicus,
bullshit.
who lived from 1473
This is the
to
Baal
about
Earth right here.
1543 or so, stated that the planets revolved around the sun.
Yeah. See, now we're getting way off track now. See, this is when they started fucking with it, and they started fucking everyone's minds up. So that's when they started lying. But if you want to see some real shit, that's what it really looks like on the inside of the other side. So it's a flat plane. This is the center. The opposite side has a water that goes in the menstrual waters, which is the everlasting waters of the earth. This is what the ancients were talking about. This shit here, this is when they started trying to fuck with us. No, it's a spinning ball, and there's hot cores and lava in there, and this shit there's burning shit and pushing it out and outside, and these are the winds around it, and blah blah blah. It's a bunch of bullshit. Well, good thing I'm here to decode the pants off of it.
Copernicus, who lived from 1473 to about 1543 or so,
You know what? This is
stated that the planets revolved around the sun.
I don't want to hear none of this NASA crap. Alright, so I'm just going to end it there. You guys get the point. There's giants inside of this motherfucker. There's giant beings in there. There's civilizations. There's a utopia. There's waterways. There is paradise in there. According to this map here.
Very, very interesting.
So, yeah. There's paradise. There's not all the shit they said. God damn it. So you pretty much get the point. Let's go over the schematic. This is 100 miles wide. You're looking at a big ass mountain. Big as shit, but it's actually a tree. When we zoom back, you see that it's just a tree. And an aurora borealis shooting at the top. And people safely go in there and they live and hang out with giants and have a good ass time, and then somehow they can come back out of this shit, and they come and they go as they please, and when they do come back they say, you know what, fuck America, fuck the government, and they go back. I don't know if there was really technically a government exactly at that time, but tyranny always existed out here in this place because these motherfuckers have been tearing down trees and shaping the world. Little weed pipe there. Whatever. Yeah, they've been shaping it and building it and turning it and rocking and rolling it from the garden. Because before you roll, you gotta rock. Before it becomes a spinning ball earth, you gotta rock the fuck out of it and burn it up. Jimi Hendrix, once again, I've returned to see that the stars were misplaced in a shell of a world that has been burned. So that's pretty much what they did. They just burned it all. Mined it all up, just like they did at Avatar. Watch the Avatar movie. They burned it up, they killed everybody, rock and roll. So, yeah. So, as I was saying, if anybody else has any good information about these maps, the maker's map, maker's art of map or something like that. What is that? Maker's map. Check it out on Amazon. They actually have them going for like $16 to like as low as $1, and you can get these maps, the inner Earth maps and all that shit, like specifically written out with like scripture and all that, and measurements and schematics. All that shit is on there in those books. I'm gonna get one for myself, for my house actually. So 400 miles across, 100 miles across, 500-600 miles across. Paradise.